Hello, everyone. Diana Rankin here. It is our Friday afternoons, and I'm so happy to see all of you. Thank you. Uh, for those of you who join me live, welcome. For those of you who pick this up later, welcome as well. And thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for your support. Believe me, I couldn't do this without your help, so I really appreciate it. Thank you. We're going to look at two questions from viewers today. And if you have questions, you can put them in the comments below. You can email them to me. My email is in the information below. But just send me your questions. And I do ask that your questions be of a general nature. So everyone, our whole audience will be interested in hearing rather than of a personal nature. Those of you who want personal questions answered, just set up a session with me. You can email me when you're available and we'll try to work it in, and include your time zone, please, or what country you're in. Or I'm on Eastern Daylight Time now. And so it helps to know what time zone you're on. Or you can give me a call. Again, go to the website and my number's right there. So get a hold of me and we'll set up a session for you. Prices are on my website. All of the information you need to know is on the website to set up a personal session. For those of you with esoteric questions or general questions, as we've talked about, such as we'll be talking about today, again, just put them below. We'll get them. We'll also, before we finish the video, we will get a message from one of my books from Phillip. It was written by Phillip, who is my spirit guide. And it's the Master's Book of Answers. And this is just an oracle book. So we just kind of open to any page, and that's where we get our answer. And we'll talk about that a little bit in a few moments. But right now, I want to tell you our two questions today. The first question is, would Phillip talk more about self-compassion? Does he have any suggestions for finding compassion for ourselves, especially when dealing with regret, even shame? That's the first question. The second question is, when we are struggling to find peace within ourselves, what are some methods we can use to tap into peaceful energy? When we are struggling to find peace within ourselves, what are some methods we can use to tap into peaceful energy? The second question came in from one of you viewers last week in the live session, actually, but I combined it with one of the questions that we already had because the answer is going to be there for both of you. And I thank you for these questions. I want to also say I will write a blog. The newsletter that just came out today. I have a free newsletter. If you want to sign up for the newsletter, again, go to the website. Every week there's a different article, and often I will connect the article to a specific YouTube video, or I will connect it to my blog, which just goes in a different angle or a little more in depth. And so this second question, when we're struggling to find peace within ourselves, I will get a blog out or newsletter out about that specific and give you there's one today. The newsletter that came out today is 12 ways to add peace to our world. Hello, Juliet. She says hello and happy Friday. So good to see you. So check out the newsletter. If you're not receiving it, you should get it early Friday mornings. Depending upon what time zone you're in, you might get it in the middle of the night, Friday nights. But it comes out on Friday. Again, it's free. You can sign up through the website. You can also, while you're there, check out the different articles on my blog that I have on creating peace in the world, or some thoughts or some things about stories that I've gone through. Okay, let's get going then with our two questions. First one, just to remind you, is, would Phillip talk more about self-compassion? Does he have any suggestions for finding compassion for ourselves, especially when dealing with regret, even shame? And our second question, which is answered here, but I'm going to also give you some more suggestions in the newsletter and blog. When we are struggling to find peace within ourselves, what are some methods we can use to tap into peaceful energy? Here's what Phillip has to say. If we tell you that self-compassion must come before compassion for others can be. Would you believe us? Of course not. Yet this is the truth we speak. How can you claim to know for another that which you do not know for self? It is not possible. That which you know comes through the channel of the human consciousness. If you have not experienced the energy of an understanding, how can you expect to know the experience? This is not to say you cannot feel pity or sorrow or even a touch of compassion for others. It is to say to know the depth of the experience. One must put themselves into the experience. This can be done through the physical experiencing of this can be done through the physical experiencing of or through the use of the imaginal mind. Let us use as an example the suffering of people during a war. Certainly you can feel compassion for them, but then you stop being involved and you continue with your life. You cannot allow yourself to think more about the people and the war. It's too hard. There's nothing you can do about the situation. Then you begin to feel shame because you can't change the situation. Soon you feel guilty, which turns to anger, which escalates, and your life becomes fear-based instead of love-based. Whew, he does go through it, doesn't he? Instead of smiling at strangers, you frown at them, and more shame and regrets follow. Is any of this necessary? Yes. For when life becomes too painful to continue to live without self-compassion, you will change the habits of the current thought patterns. There are those who will live in destructive patterns for years or even lifetimes. It is only when you realize that you must forgive yourself and come to understand your truth that you will come to have self-compassion. What is your truth? The truth for all humans, is that you are spirit in the individual expression of human. As a human expression of spirit, you have agreed to experience the human emotions and to undertake that which humans go through. As you go through the multiple human emotions, you begin to understand what others may feel. Remember to know what the other feels is first required that you understand the emotion by having experienced it yourself, whether in this life or another. This is the first step in self-compassion. The second step is to recognize you are regretful and or shameful about something. If there is action to be taken, such as an apology to someone, take that action. If no action can be taken, or the action is completed, then give the regret and shame to spirit in a prayer or ritual, repeating as often as necessary. Give thanks to the regret and shame for the many gifts these emotions have given you. Perhaps the gift was one of knowing this is not how you want to feel. Perhaps the gift is understanding how another feels. Perhaps the gift is changing your behavior to create more self-compassion. The gifts are many, and these you must seek out while releasing human thoughts and replacing them with the energy of thoughts from your spirit self. It is in this way you grow. It is in this way you become compassionate for yourself and others, and all others. What Phillip is saying here is recognize what you're feeling regret or shame about. Once you recognize it, then you're going to release it. You're going to give it over to spirit in a ritual, in a prayer, meditation, whatever works for you. You're going to give it over. But then also recognize there are gifts in this shame. There are in feeling this shame, not necessarily in the shame, but in feeling the shame. There are gifts in feeling and recognizing the regret. And as you recognize that and you acknowledge that, then look for those gifts. Release it looking for the gifts. And the gift may simply be learning more self-compassion. I love it. And I do prefer gifts over lessons. In fact, I have a video about that. But if you prefer the word lessons, go ahead. That's fine. I happen to think lessons is kind of saying you did something wrong, so you got to learn the lesson. And I like to think you did something human and you received gifts from it. And the gift may be simply you grew. And that's huge. You grew, so you don't have to repeat this pattern. And then remember what Phillip says. The gifts are many, and these you must seek out while releasing human thoughts and replacing them with the energy of thoughts from your spirit self. It is in this way you grow. It is in this way you become compassionate for yourself and all others. Every moment of our lives, every lifetime we live, we have those opportunities to grow. And isn't that what it's all about? Having the experience, understanding the experience, and growing from it. And as we grow, we learn to bring more of the spirit self into the human self and live more from our spirit self, not just our human emotions. And that, my friend, is self-compassion. Let's get our message, shall we? Well, we just kind of flip through here and see what it says. And you notice sometimes I hesitate, and this time I'm hesitating. But there we got a page. I'm hearing right, and if you heard right, we're in sync. Our intuition's in sync. If you heard left, that's a message you need to pay attention to. And I always read both pages. So on the right, this is interesting. It's how to use the book. So that's interesting. So I'm gonna do it again, or I may have lost the page when I kind of moved the book. But I find that interesting that it was how to use the book, because I think that does go along with our message here, is how to use life. It's like a book. So let's just get our new message, shall we? I'm still hearing right. So on the right, it says, intuition reaches into the unknowable and allows you to know that which logic cannot perceive. Intuition reaches into the unknowable and allows you to know that which logic cannot perceive. Which is interesting to me, because if we think about our message on self-compassion, then, and we think about the end where Phillip says the gifts are many, and these you must seek out while releasing human thoughts and replacing them with the energy of thoughts from your spirit self. If we think about that, our intuition is really coming from our spirit self. It's coming from that deeper part of us that is connected to all that is. And that's our spirit self. If we're able to connect into that, into the part of us that is pure love, we certainly will have more self-compassion. If you heard left, this is a message that you need to hear today. Without a generous heart, your giving is not a gift. Without a generous heart, your giving is not a gift. So often we hear things like give to get, or you won't get unless you give. The idea is to just have a generous heart. And remember that generous heart, my friends, starts with giving to yourself. You've often heard me say, if we breathe out, we're giving. If we breathe in, we're receiving. And we cannot continue to breathe out without breathing in. So if we're giving without a generous heart, we're not giving, especially to ourselves. So give to yourself, my friends, with that generous heart that allows you to forgive yourself for anything you think you did wrong, when all you were doing was just living out the human side, the human experience. That's all you were doing. And as we grow, life through life through life, and through the years of this life, we grow in that wisdom. And that wisdom is, we are spirit beings. Or how did Phillip say it? I don't see it now, but I'm sorry. But basically what he's saying is we are human beings having that, playing out that human experience. May your human experience be one of love, be one of compassion, first of all, for yourself. And with that compassion for yourself, you'll know how to have compassion, true compassion, for all others. I love you, my friends. Thank you for being with me today. I'm so happy to see you. Judith, so glad you could join us, and good afternoon. Yes, it is afternoon here where I am on Eastern Daylight Time, and I want to say it has warmed up. Spring is springing, and it is wonderful, and I'm so excited, except, boy, do I have a lot of cleanup to do. I live in the woods, and it's been a rough winter. We'll get it done. Thank you. I love you. Thank you for receiving this love. Thank you for loving yourself. That is so important. And thank you for the love you send us. We receive it. Until we meet again, my friends. Thank you.